Hello, huge movie fanatics coming at you on for another batch of reviews here on June 12th, 2012, and pretty exciting. We're here outside again, and it's not so cold,
yeah.
So we should be pretty good. We're here to start off our batch of reviews today with
Prometheus.
It's been like 6 months since we reviewed the first trailer, and
yeah, 6 months.
Here we are. It's warm. It's not as cold, and we've seen Prometheus.
Yes, we have, and I guess I'll take the review.
I want to hear him first.
The quote that I said immediately after the movie finished was, "I've had bowel movements that were less shitty than that movie." It was positively awful. I did not like almost anything about it except for the look. It is a gorgeous looking movie. Holy crap, is it gorgeous. Ridley Scott really knocked it out of the park with the visuals. Hands down, the best visually looking movie of the year, and I hope it wins an Oscar for that. And special effects were like really cool. Like cinematography and special effects are what this movie has going for it. I just want to take this moment.
He's got something written down on a notepad.
On our very first trailer review, posted January 1st.
What'd you call something?
This is an exact quote that I said. My prediction is, this is going to be about the space jockey bringing fire to man, fire being the purge of man, which is probably going to be the alien strand, which is why he, Ridley, keeps saying, "There's alien DNA in the movie." This was at the 7-minute and 58-second mark, and do you know what your response to that was?
I don't remember. Do you have it written down?
Yeah, I can't believe they'd be that stupid. So, I just want to throw that out there. 6 months ago, I called it.
Right. If you don't believe him,
yeah, check out our Prometheus trailer
review, the first one.
Review, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of things I didn't like about the movie, which I can go into, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
I liked it.
Okay.
This is the deal with Nate about when it comes to movies. I loved. You mentioned that it looked great.
Mm-hmm.
I loved what I loved about it most is it felt like I was in very capable hands. The filmmaker was very capable, which he was. It's Ridley Scott. I'm not too much of a fan. I haven't seen too much of, the stuff he's done. I've pretty much only seen, Alien, Blade Runner, and I've seen. I saw a little bit of what? Oh yeah, I saw Hannibal, and a little bit of Gladiator before I turned it off. So I'm not familiar with what he's done since the good old days of the sci-fi, but I like right when the space stuff started, and it goes back to a quote that I don't have written down, but I remember I said, I think on our second Prometheus trailer review, which is, if anything else, it's going to be cool sci-fi eye candy. And that, for me, is what it was. I actually really liked it, and it was only for... what I was getting at before is, what I was saying is, for me in movies, it's more important to me to feel like, I don't know, I want to, it matters more to me to like the world, I guess the world being, in this case, the production design of the ship in the interior and all this stuff, which very much harkened back to Alien, which I was completely, fanboy, crazy about. The characters I love. You didn't even mention Michael Fassbender. Is that correct? You didn't like him in it or anything like that? Oh God, I loved him in it. I knew. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but maybe some people wouldn't catch it. But as a sci-fi nut, I knew immediately that he was, before anyone even woke up, that he was an Ash, because a robot, because he wasn't in hibernation. And I loved that scene where he was just doing shit for the 2 years while they were traveling. That could have been 5-10 more, well, maybe 5-7 minutes longer for me. It was great, and I love when they do. Have you seen Moon?
Yeah.
I love when they do classical music in really high-tech sci-fi interior or sci-fi things, because it's this really cool blend of the beautiful old world, just candles, no electricity, with this super high-tech. The combination for me always works wonders, and that was really cool. when that happened.
You mentioned one of two things that I will say the movie kind of does in a weird way well for the franchise of the Alien lore. I've always felt Alien Resurrection, not being the best movie of the bunch, it seemed the most different and weird, and why is this part of the franchise? And this movie does two things to make that kind of part of the franchise. There's the scene where you were just mentioning where Michael Fassbender one-arms the basketball, and I was like, I'm sure it wasn't an intentional nod, because who intentionally nods to Alien Resurrection? But it brings this nice like callback, like that's the first movie and that's how it starts, and that's the last movie and that's how it starts too, like, or early on anyway.
Oh, I see.
And then this movie's all about like DNA, and Alien Resurrection was all about DNA. And I always felt that that was kind of like weird in Alien Resurrection, but now that the first movie's all about DNA too, you know, it actually kind of creates a symmetry.
The prequel makes the stupidest one word, or you don't think it's
no, I mean,
well, it is regardless what you think.
Yeah, no, it is. I agree, it's the stupidest one. I just think it's better than Alien 3.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah.
So what's funny is I loved it when I was sitting there watching it, and it was mostly for nothing else than production design, and like you said, cinematography. And I felt like, the thing is, I felt like I was in very capable hands, and that's because I was. Seeing Ridley Scott back in science fiction again, first time in 30 years, was great. And the difference for me about Prometheus than all this crap that you get now that's made by, 30-something previous music video directors and all this shit, is that Ridley Scott, it's like, for the first time, for my money in a long while, I sat in the theater and was watching a movie that was directed and crafted by someone who was mature, like mentally mature, and wasn't just a product of music video production, which is just mind-numbing, just bullshit. Not to say that there's not a single good music video, but in general, like the mainstream big crap, flashy crap, whatever music videos.
Yeah.
I loved it when I saw it, and like I say, because I just loved. And by the way, you probably didn't see it in 3D, but I actually saw it in 3D, and I thought the 3D actually really enhanced even more that thing you were talking about, where it looked great. And like when they're I also love the little thing where that little thing they throw to survey the stuff, and it's like, that cool. Stuff looked great in 3D with all the laser coming at you. And believe it or not, you would think that all that dark stuff would be dark, but it actually looked fine and was bright. I think as they get further into 3D, they learn more and more on how to make stuff look better in dark situations and all this kind of stuff. I really liked it when I saw it, and then I was thinking about it later on, and I was like, in a lot of ways, I don't think you've seen the prequel to The Thing yet, have you?
No, not yet.
In a lot of ways, it was like that, which was, instead of remaking Alien, the prequel to Alien felt like a remake of Alien in a lot of ways, because this is fine. This is spoilers. We can basically just I'll probably put that on the
spoilers.
Which is basically the same thing as Alien, where they show up, and I wasn't disappointed at the time because I was so much loving the sci-fi eye candy stuff. But later on, in thinking about it, I was like, okay, well, they just go there, and it's the same thing, where even though it's before Alien, they arrive after the fact, just like Alien, they arrive after the fact, and then they have to try to piece together what happened. So, and it's weird because we really, at the end of the day, don't really learn too much.
I haven't really gotten to my review because I wanted to let you take it off, and also
now it's your turn.
Well, also because my entire review of the movie is based on spoilers and stuff. Like
spoilers.
So we've gotten to the part where we can spoil. Now I can explain to you why the movie is terrible.
Why you don't like it?
No, why it's actually bad.
Well, things aren't actually bad or good. We just like them or don't like them.
Okay, the opening scene of the movie. What did that have? It's one of the best scenes. I think it is hands down the opening scene.
Oh yeah, that was so stupid.
No, that was the best shot in the movie.
The best scene?
The best scene in the movie. What did that have to do with anything?
Well, I always thought that it was the alien that drew the short straw to test out their new strand that they made. He drew the short straw, or maybe in the alien world he drew the long straw, and he was the one who he probably got laid. They probably got him laid beforehand. and then they woke up, and he was the one to test the strength, and it didn't work out very good for him.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of. What do you think?
Because there's no explanation for that scene
That's
whatsoever.
what I think.
It's people are really reaching to try and like this movie, and they when you actually start questioning the things that happen in the movie, the characters, for one, don't feel authentic whatsoever. Not one character actors in a human fashion throughout the entire movie.
Yeah, but
in Alien, everybody acted humanly, and that's why you connected to them. Did you? What were any of their names besides Shaw? That's my point. Okay, nobody had a human quality to their characters. What was Holloway's motivation? You don't even remember who Holloway is.
Well, but see, I have that. I can say that about any number of movies being made now, though. It's the same.
Yeah. But then why is this?
Well, if you saw in one of the trailers or the trailer reviews, I said that's what I said. Or the second one we did.
Yeah.
Is it just looks like a bunch of generic, characters, like the guy with the tattoo. The two ones that get left behind are your generic.
You know exactly who's going to live in this movie and exactly who's going to die within the first 5 minutes of this movie, whereas Alien was a surprise constantly as to who was going to take it next.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. There are so many questions that this movie raises and doesn't answer a single one. The only question, the only question that it answers, it immediately follows up with a question. The question of, why are we here? Well, we're here because they made us. Well, then somebody immediately follows it up by saying, yeah, but who made them? Which is like, you get blindsided with a shovel. Like, okay, you finally get one answer out of the 47,000 questions questions asked in this movie. You get one answer, and that has a question to it.
Yeah, but I actually like that because that's kind of the eternal question of life, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's the basic psychology. Like, you could just take a test. No. You have like people are like, this movie's so smart because it asks philosophical questions. It asks philosophical questions that a second grader has asked himself. Like, that's not sophisticated questions. They're not sophisticated science fiction. Furthermore, like, I'll get to my big problem with the movie.
You haven't done that yet?
No. There's a huge logical flaw that this movie has, and it connects to the biggest problem in the movie.
Okay.
We, the archaeologists in the movie, the humans, find the star map on 7 different parts of the world. The Mayan temple, the Babylonian temples, all this kind of stuff, which was oddly that was kind of the same storyline that Alien vs. Predator had. Just I'm pointing that out. But yeah, isn't it? But anyway,
well, I don't remember that movie.
And you probably won't remember this in 10 years. Anyway, so there's the star map that sends them into space. They're like, the aliens left this for us to find them. There's no way the humans could have known this without an alien or another being, a god, giving us this thing. The coordinates to a star system that no human could ever know. So we go to the coordinates, and the coordinates are to a ship that's about to destroy the fuck out of us.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would they leave that there instead of... The aliens were already there when they gave us that star map, because they said that in the movie. Why would they give us the coordinates to a ship that didn't make it to us in order to wipe us out? Because they died themselves.
I think those maps were left, hundreds and hundreds of years before they planned to wipe us out.
Well, yeah, but that wasn't they clearly established in the movie that wasn't the aliens' home world, because they have several thousand ships across the galaxy.
So what's your question?
Why did they send us to that coordinates when it was a ship that was about to destroy us?
Well, it might have not been a ship about to destroy us when they left the coordinates.
Well, assuming that, then you'd have to assume that would be like their alien home world. Why would they just give us this? Like, it doesn't. There's no logical sense to that.
To what?
To that, like, why they would why would they leave us those coordinates? Because I mean, they were like, those coordinates were left over 3,500 years ago, like well before the time of Jesus and whatnot, and the fossil record of the thing was about the same, wasn't it? Like,
wait,
when
so
they
what thing? The thing?
The creator alien that they find, the head.
I don't remember. I'm not a detail man.
But
So I
yeah,
don't
none of
remember
this
years
makes
and
sense.
shit.
Okay, so then here's my biggest flaw with the movie. The entire Alien franchise starts because a guy got roofied.
Which guy? The
David, Michael Fassbender, has little alien ooze on his finger, and for no reason explained in the movie, he spikes the dude's drink.
Yeah, I know. They kind of don't even.
They don't address it. They
Well,
don't do
you know.
anything with it. The guy drinks it, and is infected with weird alien ooze, and immediately impregnates his wife, fiance, whatever, with yeah, with an alien
Like
squid.
the biggest face hugger, like a body hugger, which it turns out to be.
Yeah,
Body
that
hugger.
was stupid.
Wasn't that
But so she's impregnated with this weird squid alien. She gets it torn out of her. She just like, whew, made it out of that, just leaves it there, doesn't tell anybody about it. Goes with her entire crew, forgets about that thing in there, comes back, and then, holy shit, it's a giant squid. This'll save me at the last second, I'll just open the door and it'll come out and save me. And she tricks the creator alien into going there, and it wraps around him and body hugs him, and then he's lying down in the very last shot of the movie, and the chestburster comes out with a full-grown alien, and it's the alien that we know from the franchise that we're familiar with, or close enough anyway. But that whole thing came about because a dude got roofied. So Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection all becomes about a dude getting roofied.
Well, that's what life's all about at the end of the. I mean, you know, it's like they ask. I mean, do you want to know? I don't know if
But
that's
then
this
why
movie
make this
or,
movie? Like if
To
you're
make
like
money.
well yeah, but
to make money.
and it didn't. It made 50 million. It cost 150 million to make.
Well,
That's opening weekend. I don't think
worldwide
this
it's
movie's
probably
gonna
going
have
to make back its
It's
budget.
probably going to make back its budget. It does. I don't think this movie's going to have legs beyond this opening week.
It may not.
Yeah, it's not really good. People are just reaching for straws because they want to like it so badly because it's Ridley Scott and it's the first science fiction film he's done in 37 years, and it's not good though. Like, I mean, come on. And like, I
Oh,
couldn't
you didn't even
believe
mention
it.
the fact that the space jockey didn't get. He wasn't sitting in his chair when
Yeah,
he got.
well,
what
it was
happened?
LV-223 that this planet was on, and finally, like when it got to the climax, much like the climax of Alien, I was like, all right, this shit is finally picking up. And then
This isn't the planet.
no, it wasn't the
okay,
planet.
see, I'm not a detail
So
guy.
yeah, and that's why Michael Fassbender's like, there are thousands of ships. We'll just keep looking.
Oh.
And I'll get to that in a minute too. But so the ship takes off and Prometheus takes off after it, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a cool like space journey, and then they're gonna hit each other, which was obvious, and then it was gonna crash land onto LV-426.
Which
and I was
made
like,
sense, huh?
yeah, no, it's not. No, instead they have this weird body hugger thing. When they could have done the exact same story, even had the chestburster pop out of them. Like they wanted to, like they did have happen at the end of the movie.
What would have been cool is if he would have got body hugged, went back to his ship, started to take off. He's right over LV whatever,
Yeah, exactly,
ABCD,
yeah.
and he's like, and then
Yeah.
It's like they don't even.
Yeah, they don't address that. They had that weird thing where she like. All right, I tried to assess this in human terms. The creator alien comes in contact with humans, which it was going to wipe out for no apparent reason, with apparently an army of squid monsters, which I'm sure there's a much better way to destroy a planet than releasing squid monsters, but it was a bioweapon just like I predicted. Anyway, he comes in contact with Shaw, Michael Fassbender's David, who can speak to him somehow, because he learns it over the, like, there was a bullshit reason for that. But anyway, he finally makes contact with these things he created, and his immediate reaction is to react hostily and try and pick up the dude and rip his head off. Why did that happen? Like, I mean, I was trying to relate this in human terms. Say I'm 50 years old and my 30-year-old estranged son comes to me that I didn't even know I had, and he's like, I am your son. The DNA is here to prove it. And then I'm not gonna just be like, ah, and then just snap his neck. I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be like, well, it looks like you have some questions, and I'm here to answer them. Which was what this whole movie promised to be about. It was like, it asks all these questions. They finally give you the scene where, oh shit, this is the moment for answers. And instead, he snaps the dude's head off. And they had, for whatever reason, the dude from Memento, what's his name?
I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Memento? Oh. He playing Wayland in the worst makeup I've ever seen.
Why don't they just get an old guy?
Yeah, because they're doing all those viral videos where he's like in his 30s. Yeah, where he's in his 30s. So it was basically they cast a young guy so they could do the viral videos.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Ridley Scott's a thinker.
Anyway, just get an old guy to do the old and a young guy to do the young. I mean.
Right? People have done that for years. It didn't look good in Back to the Future when they were aging Michael J. Fox, and I think that makeup was actually better than they did in this movie. But anyway, so I mean, there were just so many like logical flaws and problems with this movie, and you can like really like he's made it ambiguous to leave it up for interpretation, so that you can just be like, well, it wasn't a ship sent to destroy us when they left those coordinates. Well, how come that's the only ship there then, and how come it's the only one that has all sorts of alien goo to be our bio terror to destroy us and all this kind of stuff. There's constantly questions that this movie raises, and then subsequently the audience has to raise in order to refute any refutations of the movie itself. Like, that is kind of the weakest way to make a movie. Like, why not just take a philosophy textbook and just start asking, why are we here? Is there a God? I mean, that was like the opening lines of the movie, was it not? Like, they asked like those three questions.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, and then for whatever reason, David can read people's dreams.
I thought that was cool.
Are you serious? That
yeah,
was
it was
so
just
dumb.
creepy because it was like, oh gosh, you know, I mean, a little bit of the big brotherness and like, you know, is this what they're really doing kind of thing. And
how does that happen though? Like,
well, that doesn't matter how it happens. But I just thought it was cool and creepy that like as you know, you're just so vulnerable and you've got no defenses up, and this robot is watching everything you think. One thing I thought was really horrible, and I wasn't even looking at the screen. Maybe it was worse than 3D. That little bit of that dream where it was all, like when you saw that little bit of her dream. I mean, it was like you couldn't even look at it. It's just like it's all, you know, whatever to look whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And did you find the movie scary? Like this movie.
Well, movies don't scare me.
Well, movies don't scare me either, but like at least you can recognize that something's going to be scary or something like that, or supposed to be scary. This movie didn't like it had two scare scenes, so I was like trying to figure out why it's sort of being addressed as a sort of Ridley's return to horror kind of thing, and it's really not. There's all the cool like action-y bits, which I didn't go to this movie expecting a lot of action, are every single one's in the trailer. Like at the end of the day, this was a great trailer. The second trailer, anyway, was a great trailer. Let's just leave it at that.
Stars?
Oh, one.
3. I enjoyed it. It was great sci-fi eye candy, and like what I was saying before, I felt in very capable hands as far as how it was made, and it felt more mature. The thing I loved about it is I felt like I was watching an 80s sci-fi movie. It felt like for a while. I felt like I flashed back to Leviathan. Remember Leviathan? Have you seen that? He hasn't seen it. I felt like Leviathan. There's even a moment there where have you seen Creature? Where I was like, oh, that's like when that guy gets, I guess when her boyfriend or whoever he is like infected and stuff. I was like, oh, this feels like Creature, man. That's so cool. It's like it feels not that they intended to do it, but it just happened to feel like Creature. It felt like Leviathan for a while. I love the production design. I love the sci-fi-esque stuff about it. I think they screwed up all the potential of what they could have possibly done, you know, with the story as far as the scenario and all that stuff. But I enjoyed it at the end of the day.
The thing is, the story, the plot, the idea of the movie, which has been going around since the Alien commentary, because he told you what this movie was going to be about back then. He was like, nobody ever explored that space jockey, the derelict.
It was a complete waste of time.
Well, the movie is an absolute waste of time.
No, I mean, well, in relation to exploring that, I mean, it doesn't do anything with it. I mean,
no,
the
movie has a decent idea, like exploring all these questions and whatnot. But all the movie does is ask questions.
Yeah,
now,
that's a problem.
The writer of this movie is David Lindelof,
who has done stuff. You said
he's done stuff I like on television. That's the key. He's done Lost, which was also about asking a lot of questions and subsequently giving almost no answers. But anyway, so this dude's great at asking questions. Also philosophical questions. That was much better accomplished, I will say that. But anyway, like, you ask all these questions, but TV is a medium of asking questions. You have to ask questions in order to get people to see the next
week.
Yeah, to see the next one. It's constantly asking questions. Whereas movies are a statement. They are the answer to a question. You have to have the movie say something. And at the end of this day, this movie wasn't saying anything. It was asking something and promising that there was going to be another,
we'll answer it in another movie.
Yeah, we'll answer it in another movie.
Yeah, and finish it in the third.
Like, is this going to go on for 4 movies? Am I going to have to see them do, like, Prometheus Resurrection? I don't want to see this. Like, this movie was bad enough as is, and if Ridley knocks it out of the park with a sequel, brings us Prometheus's, I would be happy as sin, but, like...
No, James Cameron.
James Cameron will come in and maybe, you know, that dude actually has a head on his shoulders, doesn't need writers to write for him like Ridley. He's something beyond a visualist, while also being a visualist. And he's, like, makes strong, morally confident movies. You know, this dude actually might be the person who should come in and...
What dude?
James Cameron should come in and, like, try to answer some of these
questions. That would be so great. Wouldn't that be great?
I would be so happy. He said he's not going to make any more movies outside of Avatar anymore, which is...
What?
You didn't hear that?
No, I don't hear a lot of stuff.
He's only going to be making Avatar movies. That's another conversation anyway.
We should do a separate video.
Okay.
I got to hear about that. So, anyway, this is probably 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
And it was mostly Matt complaining.
It's me bitching about a bitching shitty-ass movie.
And me just...
I was being really generous with that 1 star, by the way. Like, I was really tempted there to go half of a star, but I will say the visuals are so good, and this is definitely a movie to see in the theater because of that.
I would add 3D because it really enhances, like during that rock storm or whatever the hell was floating around. You could see, you know, the depth of, you know, all the rocks or debris and all that was in front of you. That was cool. And like I say, when they're scanning the ship, I would recommend 3D really quick while you can still do it before it's gone out of the theater. I would recommend that. I think it enhances the imagery that you could say already looks good. Yeah,
and the one thing I will also add is that this movie was so bad, it made me appreciate the first Alien a lot, because I went back and the problems that I had with that movie suddenly were non-existent because there were so many problems with this movie. It just sort of, it drained every suck that the first movie had, so that I think the first movie is really, really fantastic now, more so than I did before. So
well, that's because it is.
Yeah, my God, that was awful. So there we go.
All right. Oh, one thing I want to mention is Ridley Scott, you know, back to do a prequel for Alien, and he knocks another robot's head off. How do you like that? Pretty.
Yeah, and it was a better looking effect this time.
Instead of that cut that they do.
Well, they have that awkward neck piece that's coming off of poor, you know, and every time I watch that, I'm like, you know, I'm not a fan of digital tinkering, but, you know, that's the one thing I'd, like, probably, like, cover that up.
One thing I gotta think was kind of cool. What did you think? You probably didn't like it at all with that one thing with the captain. Was it the captain of the ship or whatever? And what's her name? We're having that conversation, and she turns to walk away, and he's got one last thing. Are you robot? And she's like, my room, 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm gonna have to try that.
That was terrible.
I'm gonna try that out at the bar. Actually, I don't go to bars, but I gotta try that at the grocery store to some woman just like, are you a robot? See what happens.
That was.
I'll report back to you about my.
That was so stupid. I'm gonna end on one last thing. The other stupidest thing in the world. These guys are scientists. They're archaeologists, which is a form of science.
Yeah.
Scientists, by my estimation, are rather smart, intelligent gentlemen. They meet the weird snake penis thing in the black ooze.
Hi,
these two guys, and he's like, "I'm your buddy," and then it comes up and it goes, and then he's just like, "Whoa, I'm not here to hurt you." Then it flares up like a cobra. Now they've never made contact with any alien on the entire like any form of alien life form, according to this movie anyway.
Oh, so far.
So far. This is the first alien any human has ever come in contact, and it flares up like a cobra. That's the only form of recognition you have would be like, oh shit, this looks like a cobra, I'm gonna back the fuck away. Instead he's like, seriously, I'm not here to hurt you.
Maybe they don't have cobras in the picture.
They have to have snakes. I mean, come on.
Cobras.
Or even like historical documents or something.
Maybe
Well, even
all...
like you can still see that this thing's acting threateningly. And suddenly he's just like, I swear I'm not here to hurt you. And then the thing bites him, and then he looks shocked about it. And I was just like, what are you, fucking stupid? And then they have the weird alien connection where they cut it and acid sprays on that guy's face, which actually doesn't penetrate glass. So I'm assuming that was plastic, which is why it melted inwards. But, yeah. Anyway, that's
maybe someday we'll do part 2 of Matt's bitching about Prometheus, but we have to go on to other reviews today.
Yeah. I could go on for years about this movie.
All right, maybe when we have more time, we will.
All right, peace.
Thanks for watching.